welcome to another episode of Enwins Motors. And I know what you're thinking, it isn't a kit car. This is the latest member of our fleet and it is definitely not a kit. Inside, well, it's typical Jeep. The Americans aren't best known for the quality of their plastics, but at the end of the day it is a Jeep, literally. So you want to be able to hose things off if you want to. And this is a proper off-roader. We're not talking about a scaled up hatchback like a lot of current SUVs. This is a real off-roader, so it's a scaled down truck. You've got an agricultural gearbox, low ratio gearbox, transfer box attached, which eats a little bit into the passenger footwell, but it does mean this is a proper off-roader. In the back, it's a little bit cramped sitting behind myself, because it isn't as big as, say, your Land Rover Discovery. It falls somewhere between a Land Rover Discovery and a Freelander. It also loves beeping at you. Underneath the bonnet is a 2.5 litre diesel, which again sounds very agricultural, and is, but it pulls this thing along fine. Now the thing that separates this from the Land Rover Discoveries of the period is that when you actually come to a corner, it doesn't wallow in the same way that a lot of real 4x4s of its age do. Which means you can feel a little more confident. It feels more like an ordinary road car. It's somewhere closer to the modern SUVs, but like I said, you've got the agricultural gearbox that means that when you do get into the rough stuff, you're not going to get stuck. It really is tough. Although I don't see the point in the modern crop of 4x4s, the SUVs as they call them, sports utility vehicle. Now I'm not sure what sport they want to get into, but when it comes to off-roading, they're useless. They don't have a low transfer box because most of the owners are never going to venture off-road, and I don't see the point in a car like that. This, as you can see from the fact that I'm not getting chucked around, is quite happy to tootle around corners. So it's perfectly at home in the urban jungle, but as we're going to show you in future episodes, this can do the real thing as well, and it does open doors in terms of potential lifestyle and hobbies, the kind of things that the SUVs allude to but can very rarely deliver. Now at first my father started looking at Land Rovers to find the vehicle that he could just step into. So I can understand why you see so many grannies and granddads in SUVs, because you don't want to be climbing down into a car, you want to step into it, and this is perfect for that. But he was looking at Land Rovers and he was finding that they're holding their value, shall we say, rather well, as in quite expensive. So I suggested he takes a look at Jeeps, and we picked this one up for $1,850, which might sound like a lot for an old car, but there's not a spot of rust on it. It's as tough as old boots, and it can do everything that it says on the tin. The other reason why I prefer a proper off-roader like this to an SUV is if you've got something which is made to be tough with this agricultural gearbox and low ratio box that the older Land Rovers certainly and this have, it's going to be tougher. It's not going to struggle to haul around the weight of this extra bodywork that you get in a vehicle of this type. So it should be more reliable in the long term. I do worry about the current Land Rovers with the amount of electronic assistance, shall we say, that's incorporated into the operation of the low ratio box and things like that. I had an old saying that was taught to me when I was a car upholsterer being trained at sports car manufacturers. A good piece of design is a simple design, because if it's simple to do, it's simple to do well. And I think that fits perfectly with the Jeep. Miles per gallon, nothing to write home about, to be fair. Mid-30s, which isn't bad in its day. The best thing is, if you're going to have a Jeep, you might as well have a real Jeep. And I think these have been overlooked in the marketplace. I mean, after all, along with Land Rover, who are you going to trust to be able to actually do the stuff off-road? This most certainly can. I think the styling's quite cute as well. I mean, it looks like a proper Jeep, of course, but I think this is one of the most successful of the Jeep family in terms of looks. There are nice little cues here and there. The grille, of course, is obviously a Jeep grille. So, there you go. Literally, a car for all seasons.